A tearful woman in a snow-white dress went down to the gloomy engine room of a cruise ship, holding a bed inside. The rude sailors giggled.
Madam, you are in the wrong floor. The lounge bar is up on the front deck.
The sailor's fun was cut by the senior mechanic. He asked the frightened woman what she was doing there. The woman said, "I want to spend the night here, so he won't be able to find me." She refused to answer any further questions. And the mechanic decided to report the strange incident to the captain. On the way to the saloon, he saw a gentleman looking for his wife. There were 3,000 passengers on the ship, so the mechanic decided to make sure that it was the same woman he had just seen. The gentleman showed him a couple of photos from a wedding on his phone. The mechanic was confused.
Isn't there a larger and more recent picture?
The passenger lashed out, claiming that he had been working hard for the past 5 years and didn't have time to relax and take pictures.
If you've seen her, take me to her. What are you waiting for?
The mechanic decided to do it in one condition. If the lady didn't wish to talk to her husband, then he would take her side. The man agreed. But on the way there, he kept trying to prove that he loved his wife and never hurt her. According to him, that cruise was very important to them. They met at a library when they both got the same book about a cruise ship. As it turned out, they had the same dream: to go on a cruise. The mechanic saw how much the passenger cared about his wife and realized that he was definitely looking for the engine room lady. They really were husband and wife, but the woman flatly refused to return to their cabin. The husband ended up leaving, and the woman fluffed her pillow and tried to go to sleep. The mechanic brought her some earplugs and asked her to answer just one question. And she agreed.
Why are you being so adamant? Did he hit you?
The answer was no. Perhaps he cheated on you, the mechanic suggested. Yet another no. The woman said that she didn't want to live with someone she didn't know.
What do you mean? I saw your wedding pictures.
The woman explained that there was only romance before they got married. After that, they both worked 24/7. After becoming successful, they decided to make their dream come true. They bought 2 cruise tickets and got their own cabin. Just 4 walls and the open sea, together, the whole time. That's when they realized that they were completely different people. He loved horror movies, and she enjoyed romantic comedies. He could lie on a sun lounger for hours, while she needed to stay active. He even bought her strawberries, not knowing that she was allergic to them. The mechanic understood and let the woman sleep. At dawn, he spotted the woman's husband who came back holding a booklet.
Look, they have real estate in the nearest port. We can buy it in 5 years. Wanna go see it today?
The woman asked for some time to think. When her husband left the engine room, the mechanic approached the woman and asked her if he could give her some advice.
I work on this ship for most of the year. I don't have a villa on the beach, but I've been married for 30 years.
He asked her if she was interested in knowing what his secret was. She nodded and listened with particular interest. That same day, the wife sat on a deck chair next to her husband and took the laptop away from him, suggesting that they should talk. The mechanic watched them from a distance, smiling. As it turned out, the woman had taken his advice, a quite simple one. Work can't be more important than family. Setting life goals is okay, but don't stop enjoying life because of them. I ran away from a millionaire on our wedding day. He immediately sent people to look for me. So I hid in a poor neighborhood, cut off my hair, and put on some rags I found in the trash. I looked like a real beggar and aroused pity.
You must be cold. Let me buy you a cup of coffee.
Cash and free coffee? I of course agreed. Plus, staying outside was dangerous. Simon acted decisively and promised a reward to whoever found me.
$20 million for a runaway bride? Huh, I could use that money.
I wrapped myself with the raincoat even more. The last thing I needed was for that guy to recognize me. We ended up at some wretched cafe. What a wonderful place! I've never been to one like this. I enthusiastically pretended to be a slum dweller. Suddenly, John noticed my gold necklace, which I forgot to take off.
How did such a poor girl get this luxurious piece?
I was on the verge of being exposed, so I had to lie. I got this necklace from my late parents. John seemed to buy it. However, I spotted my fiancé's stocks. They thought of searching the slums and were moving toward us. I had nowhere to run, so I clung to John. He thought I was crying and gently hugged me back.
Hey, what's up? I want to help you.
I realized that it was too risky to stay on the street, so I admitted. John, I have no place to go. The naive guy offered me to live with him. We went to a rundown and impoverished apartment, and while he was in the shower, I decided to look around. All of a sudden, under a pile of garbage, I found a lot of money, as well as a photo of the restaurant that belonged to my fiancé. I was dumbfounded. Did John work for Simon? I couldn't stay there any longer. I took a few $100 and ran away. First, I spent the night at a hotel, then take my necklace to a pawn shop and buy tickets to move to another city. I found a cheap hotel, but they were already waiting for me near the entrance.
I knew you'd hide in a place like this. We're taking you to the bus.
Did John betray me? The security guards tried to force me into their car, when out of the blue I heard a familiar voice.
Hey, blockheads! Get your hands off her!
was John. He boldly rushed to save me and was able to snatch me from them. As soon as we fled, John stopped. I wanted to thank him, but I didn't have time. He pushed me against the wall.
Who are you? Got me to trust you and disappeared with my money.
I looked into his kind and bright eyes and decided to tell him the truth. Those were people who work for my fiancé. My father owed him $1 million, and he demanded the debt to be paid with me. I could no longer tolerate his cruelty and left. Yet John didn't hear me because he passed out from the pain. As it turned out, Simon's hulks managed to injure him. He only regained consciousness at home, but I still wanted to call a doctor. Then John whispered that he didn't have insurance. "You've got a whole box of money." I reached out to get some cash, but he stopped me.
I've been saving it for years to get my life back.
It so happened that John used to be a successful restaurateur. However, he was framed by a rich man and lost his business. My heart sank. The man he was talking about was my fiancé. Holding back the tears, I offered John to check his wounds. He took off his shirt, and I saw the gorgeous body. John noticed my admiration and leaned closer. He looked into my eyes with passion and tenderness before kissing me. After that night, I couldn't lie anymore. I was going to tell him who I really was, but didn't have the chance. The goons tracked us down and broke into the apartment, followed by Simon.
You ran away from a wedding to land in a failed restaurateur's bed?
John was furious as he recognized his sworn enemy.
Have you forgotten that your parents gave you to me in order to settle their debt? Or would you prefer your dad to do it with his life?
Simon's words hurt me like a razor. But he wasn't done. After that, he turned to John.
You stole my bride. For that, I will destroy everything you have left.
Simon ordered his goons to drag me into the car and burned down John's house. I was horrified and wanted to protect him at all costs. I'll be a submissive wife and never run away again. Just please, leave him alone. Simon thought for a moment and then agreed. On my wedding day, I walked down the aisle during a private ceremony. And swallowing tears, I imagined my life with that monster. My parents looked at me with grief. They were in Simon's hook, just like me. Suddenly, the church doors swung open. It was John with a bag in his hands.
I've been saving money for years to get my own life back. But I'll give it all to you if you let Elizabeth go.
I thought Simon would laugh in his face. But he peeked into the bag with interest.
I blackmailed them for less than that. Good offer. It's a deal. With this money, I'll buy a new bride. Much better than this one.
In response, John laughed and snatched the microphone off his body. the police rushed into the church and arrested Simon. He was sent to jail for blackmail and forced marriage.
It's good that you're already in a dress, because I want you to be my wife.
John got down on one knee and proposed to me. I, of course, said yes. After all, I found a man who was ready to risk everything for me. And while next to him, I wasn't afraid of what the future could bring. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage.